women's space, it's very rigid, but there is space for us, for young girls and young women, if you're ready to claim it. And I think it is a space that shapes the world in a way, and the human rights implications of it. And though far it will trickle down to day-to-day life, I think it is important to come in and say, I'm a young person, the decisions and the conversations here impact my life, so I want to be in the space, I want to have a seat in the table and shape the world that I'll live in. But there is a space, very rigid, and CSOs for the most part almost feels like they exist on the sidelines at the very end of every panel. But I think we can take advantage of the very little gap that we've given.
Je leur dirais de prendre attache avec les autorités locales, de comprendre ce qui se passe au niveau international par rapport au rapport de leur pays avec les autres organisations, avec les organisations internationales. Et également de se renseigner de ce qui se passe lors de ces rencontres internationales et d'essayer de checker le plus de questions possibles à répondre, parce que quand on vient dans ce genre d'espace, c'est vraiment un espace pour rencontrer des gens et également de prendre des renseignements pour voir ce qu'on peut apporter dans notre pays, ce qu'on peut améliorer là-bas, de faire un checking de tout cela et de mettre cela en tête et de venir en fait.
I think that when I was coming, when I heard the news that I was coming to Geneva, I was so happy because I was traveling. That's actually my first time traveling outside Africa. Of course, it was a great joy for me. But when I started the whole process, at a point, it was stressful because it was my first time. I had to go to the embassy for visa. So I think they should be prepared in your mind that it's not really that easy. It's easy though, but it's not really that easy. You have to go through like a lot of processes. They had to call me for a phone interview, and I did it all by myself. I was going there to inquire because it was my first time acquiring like an European exchange visa, and I didn't know much about it. I had to send them emails. I had to call them at a point. So you should be prepared, and also you should learn. You can't actually afford to be ordinary. I always say that if you don't read, we never stop learning as human beings, and then you should read, because when you come here, there's certain the kind of people that you see here. If you're not knowledgeable, you feel left out. That is it. If you don't read, if you are not current, you are not trendy, then you are going to left out, because you're going to see is a high level. The setting, everything, you are going to get intimidated if you are not ready.
I think being here, it is important to be aware of your mental health, and it might be a bit frustrating not seeing fast action, because most of the time we consider the UN as this responsible entity of global changes, so sometimes it might feel like you give them statements and then they'll make immediate change. It's not how it works, unfortunately, but your voice matters and your voice makes an impact. So be prepared for the different ways and challenges that you'll face here.
Pour les autres défenseurs, je l'expliquerai que, en fait, l'espace de l'ONU, on va dire que c'est une grande maison, en fait. C'est une grande maison où tout le monde se réunit, tous les pays, toutes les différentes organisations, pour venir parler de ces différents problèmes auxquels ils font face, de ce qui se passe dans leur pays, de comment mettre des solutions pour ça, et puis de prendre attache avec les personnes qui peuvent les aider à aller un peu plus de l'avant et à surmonter ces différents problèmes qui sont là.
So one of the things that I'm going to share with them, one is going to be on the discrimination against girls and young women, and also on climate issues. So today, Tuesday, I got the opportunity to meet with the special rapporteur on climate change. We are looking forward to a lot of collaborations with her. Then she also made us aware of some of the things that they are doing here. They are doing it in Ghana, in my country, the mitigation and some adaptation strategies they are implementing. And I'll be happy to share with my other girls and young women back at home. And also the research, of course, that we are launching tomorrow on inclusive data collection for girls and young women in leadership, in participation and decision making. Because I know the whole Sheila's project is looking at putting girls there, making girls lead. That is the whole thing. So this research is going to be interesting, and then it's also going to be a powerful tool. I'm talking one as a black woman and also as a girl and a young woman. There were a lot of people who were supposed to be here, just like myself, but they didn't get the opportunity to get here because of visa. So if there is something that I really want to say, then it's visa discrimination. On the panel tomorrow, there was going to be Fanny, who was supposed to join me for the panel, but then her visa got refused and she couldn't access. Look at a big opportunity like this, opportunity to learn, experience, people, meet a lot of people, network, collaborate, because we know the work of activists is all about collaboration and the collective effort. But she has not been able to make it because of visa discrimination. So I think it is something that should be addressed at the higher level.